I hate crime. The guy who walked into my office was short, middle-aged, ordinary looking. The sort of character the newspaper boys call the man in the street.
My name is Warren Rolls.
Something I could do for you?
Yes, there is.
Well?
Just stand nice and still.
What? Wait.
I said stand still.
If this is a holdup.
It isn't. There's nothing I want to take away from you, Mr. Kent. In fact, there's something I want to give you. A couple of ounces of lead.
My hands were over my head. His finger was tightening on the trigger. I started for my gun. And then the front of his gun clicked open and out popped a flag, an American flag. Hey! Look! Hey! Oh, very, very funny.
The look on your face. That wonderful look on your face.
Yeah, I've got a good mind to change the look on yours.
Oh, no. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. In this world, you've got to have a sense of humor.
Well, if you'd waited 1 split second more before pressing that trigger, pal, you'd have needed a sense of humor.
There was no chance of that. It was in the timing, Mr. Kent. Everything is in the timing.
Yeah, well, you'd better use your sense of timing now and get out of here before I toss you out on the back of your neck.
Oh, now, that's no way to treat a client.
Client?
That's what the man said. It appears I need a private detective, Mr. Kent. It seems like there's somebody in the city who wants to kill me.
That I believe. The mystery is how you live this long. Who wants to kill you?
Well, that's what my wife wants to hire you for. So you can find out.
Your wife wants to hire me?
Yes. She should be here any minute. Ah, and if I'm not mistaken, I see her silhouette now, against the frosted glass on your door.
It was a nice silhouette. I opened the door. The three-dimensional view was even better. She was a honey-colored blonde, and the honey dripped all the way down.
Good morning.
Hello. Come in.
Thank you. Warren.
Hello, my dear.
Why, this is the first time I've ever known you to be early for an appointment.
Well, I wanted to get acquainted with Mr. Kent before you arrived.
Your husband is a flag waver, Mrs. Rolls.
Dear, you should have seen his face.
You didn't try that idiotic gun trick.
How could I resist? A private detective of Mr. Kent's reputation? It was a natural.
I must apologize for my husband, Mr. Kent. He owns a joke shop, and he simply must advertise.
Yes, if you ever want to fool your friends, Mr. Kent, just come along. It's on Marsh Street.
You mean if I ever want to lose my friend?
Oh, no, Mr. Kent.
Please, Warren. Let's get down to business, shall we?
All right, my dear. The floor is all yours.
What's your trouble, Mrs. Rolls? Besides your husband, I mean.
Yesterday, Mr. Kent, a bullet was fired through my living room window. It missed Warren's head by inches.
Tough luck.
Please, this is serious.
Sure. Go on.
Well, that's all there is. But I should think it'd be enough.
Yeah. Were you with him at the time?
No, I was in the garden. We live near French's Forest. There are no other houses nearby.
Where did the shot come from?
The bush.
Did you see anybody?
No.
What do you think of this, Rose?
Me? I think it's a wonderful joke that didn't quite come off.
Joke?
You mean one of your good-natured friends fired that shot?
No. But I think that Veronica knows what I mean.
Warren, what are you talking about?
Last week, my dear, I had that package delivered to you. Remember?
I'll never forget.
It was a beauty, Mr. Kent. A 6-foot-long diamond snake.
Oh, what a sense of humor. I'd have wrapped the snake around your neck.
I wouldn't have minded. It was perfectly harmless. But I'm sorry to say, my dear wife didn't appreciate my little trick.
Are you suggesting that I fired that shot?
Exactly, my dear. It would have been a good way to get back at me. However, I'm always one step ahead of those little things.
Someday you'll go one step too far.
I didn't fire that shot, Warren.
Oh, come now, my dear. Your little joke didn't work. So own up to it like a good sport, won't you?
I didn't fire that shot. If I had, I don't think I'd have missed.
You kill me, Veronica.
Yeah, I'd say she had a good reason.
Oh, dear.
Okay. Where do we go from here?
I'd say that was up to Veronica. Come on. Come on, my dear, own up to it. Admit that you couldn't fool the old maestro.
I repeat, Warren, I did not fire that shot.
Well, then who did? Tell me that. Who did? You're a detective, Mr. Kent. You tell me.
I'm not that good a detective. You must have met thousands of people during your life. It could have been any one of them. Maybe a dozen or so got together and hired an exterminator. They probably all had a good reason.
And I thought Americans had a sense of humor.
Oh, I laugh, Rose. For instance, now, if you fell off a cliff.
Say, that gives me a good one. A dummy on the edge of a cliff. Push him off and yell, "Watch out below!" A killer, an absolute killer.
Yeah, but now, if you don't mind, there's a crossword puzzle I want to work out.
Yes, and I have some work to do myself. I'll leave you here, dear, with Mr. Kent. Perhaps you can solve this attempted murder together, eh?
Warren, I did not fire...
Yes, I know. You did not fire that shot. Well, tell that to Mr. Kent, my dear. I'm too old a hand at this humor business. Good morning.
Humor, he calls it.
Mr. Kent, perhaps you'll listen to me.
Then a shot was actually fired.
Yes.
And your husband was in the house at the time.
I saw him walk past the window only a matter of seconds before I heard the shot. I tell you, Mr. Kent, someone was trying to kill him.
Or he got somebody to help him with a joke.
A joke?
To a guy like him, what could be funnier?
You mean...
Look, he gets a guy to fire a shot from the bush. But then he figures you might catch on before long. Now, whose idea was it coming to me?
Now that I think about it, he was the one who mentioned your name.
There you are. He couldn't go to the cops with a practical joke. They've got too many of their own.
I see it now. By pretending to think the shot was arranged by me, he feels he can carry the joke further.
Could be.
I'll fix him.
What are you going to do?
Oh, I've got my own little ways. Goodbye, Mr. Kent.
I had an idea that Rose wouldn't get his pipe and slippers for quite a while. I followed a guy's wife, caught a clerk who'd been typewriting on the cash register, and met a dame named Mary, just in case you're interested. On the third day, Larry Kent, Private Investigations.
Mrs. Rose here.
What happened? Another shot fired?
2. But this time, they didn't miss.
I took down her address, she told me how to get there, and I drove out. She was waiting at the front door of a neat two-storied bungalow when I arrived.
Just over here. In the garden.
When did it happen?
Only a few minutes before I phoned you.
See anybody?
No.
Shot fired from the bush again?
No, it sounded as though it came from just outside the house. There. There he is. Behind that bush.
You'd better go inside. I'll have a look at him.
All right.
And phone the cops.
Yes, Mr. Kent.
Warren Rolls was lying on his side. I bent to get a good look at his face, and then I wished I hadn't. A shotgun must have been used. His head had been all but blown from his shoulders. I went into the house. She'd already called the police. While we waited for them to arrive, I asked a question.
No. I've no idea who'd want to kill him.
Did he have any enemies that you know of?
No. Oh, there were many people who disliked him, but... Oh, I couldn't call them enemies.
This joke shop he owned, is he in it alone?
No, he has a young girl helping him.
That was all. The cops arrived, asked their questions, made their usual remarks about private detectives, and let me go home a few hours later. The next morning, I went to the Warren Rolls joke shop. I wanted to find out who thought sticking a shotgun in a guy's face was funny. The Warren Rolls joke shop was a small, musty place. There were funny masks along the walls, boxes of magic tricks, books on how to be the life of the party, and hundreds of little angles on how to be a public nuisance. But the dame behind the counter...
Yes, sir?
I introduced myself. When she heard private detective, her eyes went wide. The police hadn't talked to her yet, because when I mentioned what had happened to her boss...
Oh! Oh, no! Oh! Oh! Oh!
I waited till she got over her tears and pulled herself together. Then I started hitting her with questions. But she knew even less than Mrs. Rolls. I was leaning against the counter trying to think of another question when the guy walked in.
Yes, sir?
I'd like some of that sneezing powder on a special card.
Very well, sir.
She turned around, pulled a small white package of sneezing powder from a card, gave it to him, took a shilling, and he went out. Then I said so long.
I'm sorry I can't be of help to you, Mr. Kent.
Well, you never can tell. I might be around to see you again.
Please do.
She gave me a nice little smile that I took along with me. Next move? Well, across the street was a dark hallway. I went around the block through the back door of a building and stood in the hallway. I saw the cops come and go a few hours later. The next day I was there again. This time I saw the character who'd bought the sneezing powder. He was in the store for a couple of minutes. When he left, I followed. He took me to a pub. I stood next to him, ordered a beer, nudged into him.
Sorry,
water. Pal, I'm sorry. Say, you're the fellow with the sneezing powder.
Yeah?
Must be good stuff. How about a sample?
Sure. Here.
Why, his hand had been around a whiskey glass. I got the whiskey right in the eyes. By the time I rubbed them clear, he was gone. Which was okay by me. Next move, the office. Hello, Larry Kent, Private Investigations.
My name is Mo.
Am I supposed to know you?
Not yet.
Should I know you?
I think so. If you're still interested in the Rose murder,
What if I am?
then I may be able to help you.
Where are you?
Room 39, the Rutledge Hotel.
I said I'd be there, and I was. 10 minutes later.
Mr. Kent,
That's right.
please come in.
I did. But as I did, I put my left arm around her and kicked the door shut.
Oh, let go!
But I didn't. I was holding her between me and the guy with the gun. The guy who was so fond of sneezing powder.
Pete! Pete!
Stay where you are, Pete.
Let go, you...
When he drops the gun, start shooting Pete and she gets it. Don't drop the Roscoe and you get it. Drop it. 1, 2. That's a nice boy. Okay. You can sit down now, sweetheart.
Oh, you...
Yeah, this is cozy.
I'll scream.
Go ahead. Then tomorrow you can shop for a new set of china. Nice gun you've got here, Pete. Silencer and all.
And a license, too.
Smart boy. Maybe you've got some more answers, huh?
Maybe.
We'll start with a very simple question. Where's the sneezing powder?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe I can rattle some sense into your head.
What's going on in there?
That'll be the hotel detective.
Who's in there?
At the time, I couldn't be bothered with hotel detectives, especially one who was too stupid to try the door. So I pulled out the key, turned the knob, and jerked. Let him come sailing by. Closed the door, rammed in the key, and went. I was just leaving the lobby when I bumped into an old friend.
Hold on, Kent.
Ah, hello, Inspector.
What were you doing in the hotel?
I went to see a friend.
Wouldn't be named Pete Chalmers, would he? And he wouldn't have a friend named Merle Parker?
Why, sweetheart?
Because we just received a tip on them. They're members of a dope ring that Warren Rose was in charge of.
Oh? Who gave you the tip?
It was anonymous.
Thanks for the information.
Hey, wait a minute. There are some questions I want to ask you.
Then come to the Rolls joke shop as soon as you get a chance. The dame was behind the counter. She gave out with a wide-eyed stare, and then she smiled.
You promised you'd be back, didn't you?
Uh-huh.
Forget something?
Yeah. Among other things, I forgot to get your name.
Clara,
Mm-hmm. Do something for me, will you, Clara?
if I can.
Get a package of sneezing powder.
I didn't know you were a practical joker.
Well, let's just say that I'm practical. I figure that if a guy gets sneezing powder and then tries to knock you off because you ask questions about it, then it must be pretty important.
I don't understand. What do you mean?
I'll explain later, honey. Right now, get me some sneezing powder.
All right. Here you are.
The other stuff, the special stuff.
Special?
Yeah, you keep it on a car, just in there.
Oh, I'm afraid we don't have any of that brand left.
Where did you put it?
I sold out.
I don't believe you.
What is this?
You mind if I look behind the counter and...
Stay where you are. You can't come behind this counter.
Oh, you should have told me sooner.
Get away.
Well, you've got a suitcase there. What's inside?
None of your business.
Oh, but it is my business, and the cops, too.
Don't touch that suitcase.
I reached for it, then she reached for something, but I beat it to it.
Oh! Oh, my wrist! You broke my wrist!
When you reached for that gun, honey, you almost broke my heart. Now we'll see what's in the suitcase.
Oh, no, you don't.
Well, I thought you were dead.
Get the suitcase, Clara.
Yes, Warren.
How did you work it, Rose?
You tell me.
Well, you found a guy your height and build.
So far, so good.
Then you dressed him in one of your suits, with the trimmings. Then you had him come out to your house without your wife knowing.
Naturally. I couldn't let her in on it. Go on.
Oh, Warren, let's please.
Oh, we have time, my dear. Kent is entertaining me. Please, Mr. Kent.
Glad to oblige. You got a double-barreled shotgun, held it against the guy's face, pulled one trigger, let him fall, and pulled the other.
You should have seen the look on his face when he knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, it must have been a scream.
It was. Anything else you know?
Yeah. Merle and Pete were working for you, handling sneezing powder for you.
Cocaine.
But you tipped off the cops about them.
Oh, that's right. That's why I also had myself murdered. Good, eh? Oh, sooner or later they'd have been caught and they'd have talked. Besides, I didn't want to split the proceeds with him.
Oh, let's get out of here, Warren.
Oh, by all means, my dear.
Killing me here?
Oh, no. Then Clara would be dragged into the picture. You'll come along with us. Get out from behind the counter.
Okay. I coughed, then I walked along behind the counter.
The back way. Get the car ready, Clara. Kent and I will be behind you.
All right.
Start marching, Kent.
I was 10 feet away from him, watching his face. His eyes went up. His nose crinkled. Then he couldn't stop himself. His head went back, and I was diving for his legs when he sneezed. Sneezing powder, pal. Funnier than heck. This is even funnier.
Warren! What?
Up with your hand, sweetheart. Stick around. I want to see if your boyfriend really has a sense of humor. He didn't. But later, the cops did. Rose really tickled them. In fact, they like him so much that they're going to keep him as a sort of a mascot. Same with Clara and Merle and Pete. You know, I can't figure out why people turn to crime. Sooner or later, they all get snatched up. And me? Well, I couldn't stand the idea of all those pretty dames crying over me. Good night.